This is the Fool, the first card of the Tarot's major arcana, and this is Neo from the Matrix. They're the same archetype. The Fool represents the leap of faith, the journey into the unknown, and the power of beginner's mind. Neo's journey in the Matrix is the perfect embodiment of this card. By the end of this video, you'll understand the Fool better than most tarot readers. You'll know what it means when it appears in a reading, what it looks like reversed, and why it's the most important card in the deck, and you'll never watch the Matrix the same way again. Subscribe to Occult Cinema and continue this journey with me through all 22 major arcana, each revealed through the language of film. Every card is a movie, every movie is a message. Stay watching, because in Occult Cinema, the screen is the sigil. Understanding the Fool card. The Fool is numbered 0 in the Tarot's major arcana. It's both the beginning and the end of the spiritual journey, the alpha and omega of consciousness. In Kabbalistic tradition, the Fool represents path 11 on the Tree of Life, connecting Keter, the crown of pure consciousness, to Chokmah, wisdom, the first manifestation of divine energy. This is the path from infinite potential into actual existence, from the unmanifest into form. The Fool corresponds to the Hebrew letter Aleph, which represents the element of air. Not physical air, but the breath of life itself. The first breath, the moment spirit enters matter and consciousness awakens. Look at the traditional Rider-Waite imagery. A young person stands at the edge of a cliff, one foot suspended over the drop, about to step into empty space. But they're not looking down at the danger. They're looking up at the sky, at the sun, at infinite possibility. In one hand, they carry a white rose, symbolizing purity and innocence. Over their shoulder hangs a small bag containing everything they need for the journey. At their heels, a small white dog either warns them of danger or encourages them forward, representing instinct and the animal self. Here's what most people misunderstand about the Fool. They think it means foolishness, recklessness, or stupidity. But the Fool isn't ignorant. The Fool is innocent. And there's a profound difference between the two. Ignorance is not knowing because you refuse to learn. Innocence is not knowing because you haven't been corrupted yet. The Fool has beginner's mind, fresh eyes, and open heart. The Fool sees possibilities that experience has taught us to ignore. The Fool represents trust in the universe, the willingness to follow instinct over logic, the courage to look foolish to others, and the faith to move forward without knowing the outcome. It's divine madness, holy foolishness, the leap before you're ready. When the Fool appears upright in a reading, it signals new beginnings, spontaneity, and taking a leap of faith. It tells you to trust your instincts, embrace the unknown, and say yes to adventure even when it makes no logical sense. The Fool says, don't overthink this. Don't wait for permission. Don't calculate the odds. Just leap. When the Fool appears reversed, it can indicate recklessness without wisdom, naivety that refuses to learn, or fear that prevents you from taking necessary risks. The reversed Fool might be someone who leaps without any preparation, or conversely, someone so afraid of looking foolish that they never begin the journey at all. It can also mean you're ignoring important warnings or refusing to see obvious dangers. In a spread, the Fool's position matters. In the past position, it represents a leap you've already taken. In the present, it's calling you to take one now. In the future, it promises that a new journey is coming. In the advice position, the Fool tells you to embrace beginner's mind and trust the process. And this is exactly the energy Neo embodies at the beginning of the Matrix. Neo as the Fool. When we meet Thomas Anderson, he's living a double life. By day, he's a corporate software programmer, respectable and ordinary. By night, he's Neo, a hacker searching for something he can't name. He feels the call but doesn't understand it yet. This is the Fool's first quality, responding to the call even when you don't know where it's leading. When Neo's computer screen tells him to follow the white rabbit, he doesn't question it. He doesn't analyze it. He doesn't make a list of pros and cons. When a woman appears at his door with a white rabbit tattoo on her shoulder, he follows her to an underground club even though he has work in the morning. This is pure Fool energy, following signs from the universe, trusting instinct over logic, saying yes to the adventure before understanding what the adventure is. Trinity tells him the answer is out there, looking for him, and will find him if he wants it too. The Fool doesn't go searching for the journey finds the Fool, but the Fool has to be willing to see the signs and follow them. When Morpheus calls and warns him that agents are coming to his office, Neo faces his first real test. Morpheus tells him to climb out onto the ledge of the skyscraper and make his way to safety. Neo looks at the narrow ledge, looks at the impossible drop, and says he can't do it. He surrenders to the agents instead. He's not ready yet. The Fool must be willing to take the leap, and Neo isn't there. But here's the beautiful thing about the Fool's journey: the universe is patient. The call keeps coming until you're ready to answer. When Morpheus finally meets Neo face to face and offers him the choice between the red pill and the blue pill, Neo is ready. This is the moment Neo becomes the fool. The leap of faith. Morpheus presents Neo with two pills. The blue pill means the story ends, Neo wakes up in his bed and believes whatever he wants to believe. The red pill means he stays in Wonderland and discovers how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is the fool's defining moment. The choice to step off the cliff into the unknown. Neo doesn't know what the red pill will do. Morpheus has told him almost nothing. He doesn't know about the Matrix, the real world, the war against the machines, or what's expected of him. He's choosing completely blind. And that's exactly what the fool does. The fool doesn't wait for all the information. The fool doesn't need guarantees or safety nets. The fool trusts and leaps. Morpheus tells him he's only offering the truth, nothing more. Neo takes the red pill. Immediately, his reality begins to dissolve. The mirror in front of him liquefies and crawls up his arm. His body convulses. He's pulled under, drowning in the dissolution of everything he thought was real. He wakes up in a pod, naked and vulnerable, covered in cables he's never noticed before. He's never used his real eyes. He's never taken a real breath. He's being born for the first time. And then he falls. The pod opens and he plummets down through the darkness, through the red lightning of the power fields, into the absolute unknown. Look at the Fool card again. The Fool is stepping off the cliff. The fall is part of the journey. You cannot become something new without letting the old self die. You cannot be reborn without first being unmade. When Neo asks why his eyes hurt, Morpheus tells him it's because he's never used them before. This is the Fool's rebirth. Neo has taken the leap, and there's no going back. The journey has begun. The beginner's mind. Neo wakes up in the construct, a white void of pure potential. This is where Morpheus shows him the truth. The Matrix is everywhere, a prison for the mind. The year isn't actually 1999, it's closer to 2199. Humanity lost a war against artificial intelligence. The sky was scorched black. Humans are now grown in fields and used as living batteries. The Matrix is the dream world created to keep them docile. The truth is too overwhelming, Neo can't handle it. He vomits and passes out. This is the Fool's first lesson. The truth is bigger and stranger than you can imagine. But the Fool doesn't turn back. Morpheus begins training Neo, downloading martial arts directly into his brain. Neo is amazed that he suddenly knows Kung Fu. But knowing isn't the same as doing. When they spar, Morpheus beats him easily, teaching him that he's still thinking in terms of rules and limitations. Here's where the Fool's power begins to emerge. Neo has an advantage precisely because he's new. He hasn't spent decades in the Matrix internalizing its rules. His mind is fresh, open, malleable. He can learn to bend the rules because he hasn't fully accepted them yet. But he's not there yet. He's still thinking, still doubting, still trying to use logic in a place where logic is the limitation. Morpheus takes him to the jump program. They stand on top of a skyscraper. Another building looms across an impossible gap. Morpheus tells Neo he has to let go of fear, doubt, and disbelief. He has to free his mind. Morpheus runs and leaps across the gap, making it look effortless. Neo's turn. He runs, he leaps, and he falls. He plummets through the digital city, hits the ground hard, and wakes up in the real world with blood in his mouth. When he protests that he thought it wasn't real, Morpheus explains that the mind makes it real. If you die in the Matrix, you die in the real world too. Tank, watching from the operator's chair, says something crucial. Everybody falls the first time. This is the Fool's essential lesson. The fall isn't failure. The fall is part of the process. You cannot learn to fly without first learning to fall. You cannot develop faith without first experiencing doubt. You cannot become the one without first being nobody. The Fool steps off the cliff not because they know they'll succeed, but because they trust that even the fall is necessary. There is no spoon. Neo goes to see the Oracle, the woman who prophesied the coming of the one who would end the war. In her waiting room, children bend reality with their minds. One child, dressed in monk's robes, bends spoons. Neo picks up a spoon and tries to bend it. Nothing happens. The child tells him not to try to bend the spoon because that's impossible. Instead, he should realize the truth. There is no spoon. Then he'll see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's only himself. This is the Fool's deepest wisdom. Children see what adults cannot. Beginners understand what experts have forgotten. The innocent perceive truths that the educated have rationalized away. The child isn't smarter than Neo. The child isn't more skilled or experienced. The child simply hasn't learned all the reasons why spoons can't bend. The child's mind is still open to impossible things. This is beginner's mind. This is the fool's gift. When you don't know the rules, you can't be limited by them. Neo tries again, and the spoon bends slightly. He's beginning to understand, not with his intellect, but with the part of him that's still innocent, still trusting, still willing to believe in impossible things. The fool doesn't overcome obstacles through force or accumulated knowledge. The fool transcends obstacles by seeing that they were never real in the first place. The oracle tells Neo something that crushes him. He's not the one. He's got the gift, but he's waiting for something. Maybe his next life. Neo leaves devastated. He wanted to be special, to be the hero. But the oracle is teaching him the fool's final lesson. You cannot become the one by trying to be the one. You become the one by letting go of who you think you are. The fool must doubt before they can truly believe. The choice to leap. Cypher betrays the crew. He's made a deal with the agents to be plugged back into the Matrix in exchange for giving them Morpheus. When he meets with Agent Smith, Cypher says that ignorance is bliss, and he doesn't want to remember anything about the real world. Cypher represents the shadow side of the fool. He's the one who took the leap and then regretted it. The one who saw the truth and decided he preferred the lie. The reversed fool who refuses to learn from the journey. Cypher kills crew members and nearly succeeds in killing everyone before Tank stops him. But the damage is done. Morpheus has been captured by the agents and is being tortured for the access codes to Zion's mainframe. Neo faces a choice. The logical thing to do is escape while they can. The oracle told him he's not the one. Every rational calculation says going back for Morpheus is suicide. But the fool doesn't follow logic. The fool follows the heart. Neo decides to go back into the Matrix to rescue Morpheus. When Trinity protests that Morpheus sacrificed himself so they could escape, Neo says he knows, and that's exactly why he has to go. He believes he can bring Morpheus back. This is the fool's transformation. Neo stops trying to be the one and starts acting like the one. He stops waiting for permission and takes the leap. They walk into the lobby of the building where Morpheus is being held. Guards everywhere, impossible odds. But the fool has become the warrior, still maintaining that innocent faith that makes the impossible possible. Death and resurrection. Neo and Trinity rescue Morpheus and get him to the exit. He's safe, but Neo is still inside the Matrix, and Agent Smith is waiting for him. Neo could run. The phone that leads to the exit is right there, but he doesn't. He removes his earpiece. He's done running. When he tells Smith his name is Neo, not Mr. Anderson, he's claiming his identity as the fool who has completed the journey. They fight, and for the first time, Neo holds his own against an agent. He's matching Smith blow for blow. He gets knocked down and gets back up. He's beginning to believe. Smith shoots at him, and Neo dodges. Not all the bullets, but some of them. He's bending reality now, but he's not there yet. He runs, and Smith chases him. Neo reaches the exit. The phone is ringing. He's going to make it. Smith shoots through the wall. Neo is hit. He falls. In the real world, his body goes limp. The monitors flatline. He's dead. This is the moment the Fool card depicts. The step into the void, the fall into the unknown, the death of the old self. Trinity leans over his body and tells him he can't be dead because the oracle told her she would fall in love with a man, and that man would be the one. She loves him, so he can't be dead. She kisses him. In the Matrix, Neo's eyes open. When Smith shoots at him again, Neo raises his hand and the bullets stop in midair, falling harmlessly to the ground. The Fool has died and been reborn. Neo is no longer the Fool. He's become the magician, the master of reality. But he could only become the magician by first being willing to be the Fool. What the Fool teaches us. So what does the Fool card teach us through Neo's journey? It teaches us to trust the call. When the universe sends you signs, when you see your white rabbit, follow it. Don't wait until you understand. Don't wait until it makes sense. The Fool acts on instinct, and instinct is often wiser than logic. The Fool also teaches us to take the leap before we're ready. You will never have all the information. You will never feel completely prepared. The red pill will always be a blind choice. Take it anyway. The journey cannot begin until you step off the cliff. And then, embrace the fall. You will fail. You will hit the ground. Everybody falls the first time. The fall isn't the end of the journey, it's part of the journey. Each fall teaches you something you couldn't learn any other way. Always maintain beginner's mind. Your power comes not from what you know, but from what you're willing to unlearn. The child bending spoons has wisdom the adult cannot access. Stay innocent, stay open, stay willing to believe in impossible things, and finally, let go of who you think you should be. Neo couldn't become the one by trying to be the one. He had to stop performing the role and start trusting his instinct. The Fool doesn't care about looking foolish. The Fool cares about truth. When the Fool appears in your reading, it's asking you, what leap are you being called to take? What white rabbit is appearing in your life? What red pill are you being offered? The Fool upright says, trust this. Follow this. Leap now. The Fool reversed says, you're either being reckless without wisdom, or you're so afraid of looking foolish that you're refusing to begin. Check which one applies to you. In the past position, the Fool shows a leap you've already taken. In the present, it's calling you to take one now. In the future, it promises a new journey is coming. As advice, it tells you to embrace uncertainty and trust the process. The Fool is the most important card in the tarot because it's the card that starts everything. Without the Fool's willingness to leap, there is no journey. Without the leap, there is no transformation. Without the fall, there is no flight. Neo had to become the Fool before he could become the One. And so do you. The Fool is card 0 of the tarot's major arcana, but the journey doesn't end here. Next week, we're looking at card 1, the Magician, the master of manifestation, the one who says, as above, so below, and makes it real. You'll learn how the Magician uses the 4 elements as tools, how he manifests will into reality, and why the Magician is the Fool transformed. If you're watching this series in order, you're walking the Fool's journey with me. All 22 cards, explained through 22 films. This is how you learn tarot through cinema. Hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's card. Drop a comment telling me, what's your Fool moment? When did you take the leap? Remember, the Fool isn't foolish, the Fool is brave enough to begin. I'll see you next week for the Magician.